Well, g'day, Tyrannus Cosplay back once again with another update on my Nordic carved armour helmet. I'm going to make the full set of armour. We're starting off with the helmet because I just like to do the helmets first. And just like everybody else, I've messed up and have to redo an entire part right from scratch. The method of getting pieces of foam to stick together at the right angle involves the angle that you glue them at and the angles that you cut the foam edges at. Makes sense, doesn't it? Well, I'm up to the stage on the helmet where I'm now working on filling in, let's turn that around there, where I'm working on filling in the ears, the facing of the ears, and that's one of them right there. Now, as you can tell, this face here has a 90-degree edge to it. So it slopes back slightly inside the helmet. To get the ear to sit outwards on about a 30-degree, pop that down there, the bottom face needs to be cut so that it sits on that 30-degree inside angle. Well, don't know if you can see it on there, but guess who cut it that way instead of that way and ruined the whole ear. So that's just landed nowhere near the bin. Good thing for me is I have some spare 6mm foam sitting around. Now, while I've made the whole helmet out of the 12mm to get that nice thick chunky feel, for the ears and the detail that's in them, this stuff is going to do just fine. So I'm going to pause the video for a sec, change the camera angle, and show you the process I'm going to use to do that. You won't even notice the pause, so don't go away, because basically blink and you'll miss it. See? Told you not to blink, you'd miss it. Okay, got the table set up now, and we're going to make a bit of a paper template for the shape of the ear facing. I've got the old ear that went flying over behind us there to make sure that I have the right bottom edge here, because regardless of the cut angle, that facing still fits snugly here on the, here on the helmet line. So we're going to pop a new ear in like that. We're going to have to camber the angle of this bottom surface so that it fits snugly with the piece of foam below it. We're also going to have to camber the top of the foam to fit with the actual top of the ear. This is not the top of the ear that you can see here, this 12mm thick piece. It's actually the inside edge of the ear. There's going to be a width of about that much. Okay, so the ear needs to be shaped like that. The top needs to be cambered in because we're also going to then get a thin strip of foam. We'll use the sharpening blade as an example and lay that across the top and down this edge and this edge to give the ear the thickness that we need. Okay, so first things first, we're going to use the existing ear's bottom edge on my piece of paper to get an idea of what the bottom edge is supposed to be, and we're going to do two of these. Basically, we're going to make one design and then flip it over. So I'm going to start with that bottom edge, which I know goes like that, and there's my measuring lines. Really simple, nothing too complicated. The foam is going to shape very well, but I know that I want to taper that bottom edge back out again, so I need more foam to cut it from. So I'm actually going to parallel the line to give me some foam to cut away from. Okay, so that's going there, and I know I want to go here, 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 and here. Okay, that's the overall shape of the ear, and I want two of those. I'm going to bring that line down to there, and I'm going to bring that line down to there, and cut along there, I'm going to mark that line in, and I'm also going to mark in those lines there, which you can see on the original ear. I've leveled up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do an undercut technique on these, so that instead of actually having this lip, I'm going to have the foam angled, but I'm not going to cut all the way through. I'm going to use one piece of foam by cutting a V in the back. I'll show you how we get to that when we get to that. First of all, make sure that your knife is always sharp. As I showed you in a previous video, I have this lovely little diamond Honen stone that I use to keep the tips of my blades, or the edge of my blades, nice and sharp. So first, let's cut out our template. Bang, bang. I picked up a tip a little while ago, about a year and a half ago, I suppose. The very tip of my craft knife would dig through whatever I was cutting, my paper or my foam, into my work surface, and it would slow down my cut and making nice smooth arcs with the blade very difficult because of the excess friction. Then I noticed a bunch of mates of mine not too far up the road from me called RHD Armory, Lauren and Luke and the rest of the crew, who are amazing, were doing their crafting on a outside dining setting with a glass top, because the glass stops the blade from digging in. It gives you a really cool work surface. So that's why I have this sheet of glass, which is from a local hardware store, Bunnings, and it's actually one piece of glass pool fencing. I think it was on special for like 20 bucks. It's a beast. It's probably 12 mil thick. Runs to full length of my work desk here, so you can't see it. I've got my arms spread out and they're outside the camera. So yeah, okay, about 1.5 meters, and it goes back about 50 centimeters, well past the back edge of the keyboard. So I have really decent sized work area here to cut on. That being said, let's get to the cutting. Piece of foam and our pattern, and I want two of these, one side and one flipped over for the other ear. So waste not, want not, because I'm going to use strips of this foam for that outer edge. I like using my Sharpies. Let's see, we've got a good one there. We do. And I'm going to pin that down so that it doesn't move around on the foam while I'm tracing out the edges, so that I end up with exactly that pattern. Bam. Yes, the pins do poke holes in the foam. No, it's not a problem, because once I finish sealing my foam, these holes will be hidden. And truth be known, with the wear and tear and battle damage that I want to appear on this costume, a few little pinholes really aren't going to be significant. Bang, bang, bang. Now, if you watch any of Evil Ted's vids, he will have registration lines marked in. Now, I'm a big fan of the registration lines. However, for this one, because the piece has very distinct edges to it, I don't think it's going to be a major issue. So there's one of my patterns drawn out. Like I said, we want two of these, but we want them to be reversed, one for each ear. So simply turn it over. Now that I have that free, we want a parallel line here and a parallel line there, which we're not going to cut, but we want that to be the outer edge before we start tapering back to fit into the helmet. You were there, you remember. Okay. Pin down again for the second ear. Bang, bang. There. Yeah, what the heck. One more. Stop that one from falling on the ground there. So we have our left and right here. Now this foam is slightly different composition to this foam. You can see a distinct difference in colour. This is the 12mm floor mats. This is the big roll that I get from the reject shop. It's not as dense, but it sure knocks the edge off the knife. It's become a course of habit now. Before I even make a cut, I'll ensure that we have a good edge on there. Okay, knife can go away, that can go up there, and let's first don't put that too far away because we're going to need it. When cutting the foam, two things I find help me get a really nice clean edge. One, as I've mentioned over and over, is ensure that your blade is sharp. The other one is actually the angle that you hold the blade at. Both the angle that you're cutting your foam, okay, so either on a 45 or perpendicular to the surface, 90 degrees, and the angle you hold the knife at. Okay, so if you've got the blade straight up and down, you're going to find it really hard to get a nice, clean, smooth cut. So really extend the blade out and do a nice, shallow hold of your blade when you're cutting your foam. So one there. And one there. Okay, that can go in the bin. So there's one ear, here goes the other one. Boom. Boom. Da, 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 da. Okay, so those are my two ear profiles. Back to the helmet, and you can see that little tapered edge is this tapered edge here. It's going to fit in like that, however, it's too big, of course, because I haven't tapered back the edge. So I'm going to cut the foam like this, so that the surface of that cut, the surface of the cut, this edge here, will actually sit flush on this surface here and make the whole face of the ear kick out a bit. Okay. Righto. So let's do that, shall we? So you can see now that I have the blade on an angle because I want to actually cut into the foam on an angle instead of straight down. So there. There we go. But remember, I've moved the camera. So you can see now that I have an angle on there. So that should fit more comfortably into here as it does. And like I said, there'll now be a band of foam that goes around the top here. The glue will pull all that together and we'll end up with a nice edge. But before I do that, I need now to shape this ear and put the lip around it as per the old one. There's a couple of things I could do. I could cut this lip out of 2mm foam and simply stick it straight on there, but I want to try and do a undercut and bend the foam out without cutting all the way through it to give it a nice smooth line. So turn the foam over with the underside facing out. This is the surface I'm going to cut into, and I'm going to cut just a line going through about 80% of the depth of the foam. Then I'm going to bend the foam outwards, and I'm going to use some of that scrap that I just put off to the side there, cut a bit of a V to hold that open, and I'm going to fill it full of glue. For those of you who use hot glue rather than contact cement, simply holding it open and putting a bead of glue in there until it seals will do exactly the same job. Okay, so let's get that tip nice and sharp. And away we go. So yeah, I don't have any guidelines drawn on the foam. However, I'm trying to keep a constant distance out from the edge of the ear, which basically is my guideline. And I'd say I'm somewhere between 5 and 7 mils. Okay, trying to keep a consistent depth. And what I'm going to do is bend the foam out. Now it's bunching up a bit. Oh, and I cut too deep. That's okay. We'll just glue it. To help it bend, I'm going to cut out now on those radius. There. There. And there. And like I said, you probably can't see it too well, but it should show up a lot better once I glue it together. Okay. Let's get that piece that I had in mind, which is going to be this piece here. And I'm going to need strip about chunk about that long from there. Going about way long from there. Yep, much shorter one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the piece that we just cut all the way through. Okay, save that for the other ear, and that's way too big and thick. I only want a bit of a wedge to hold these faces open. So yeah, not a particularly safe knife technique, so okay. Yep, that's working fine. And we can get 2 out of those. Do we need 2 that length? It's like butter, this stuff. This 5mm is really low density, and the blade just goes straight through it. Okay. Open up the groove, put glue on both surfaces of it. In there as well. That's one of the benefits of using the paddle pop sticks as well, instead of the bristles on a paintbrush just getting pushed out of the way. The paddle pop stick is rigid enough to put the glue where I want the glue to go by pushing the stick in there, basically. Right, that's that, and then of course we're going to need to coat our little wedges as well, because contact cement needs to be put on both surfaces, and I really should have used pin in the end of that, which we'll do now, so that when I put it down, I'm not holding wet glue. So there's a little trick for you when you're using a small piece. Use a pin as a bit of a handle. I'm putting it off to the edge here so it's out of my workspace. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it was 3 long ones and a short. I did see Ted was doing some work on a video that I watched today, and I don't recall whether it's one of his most current videos or one of his older videos, but contact cement I've always believed that you needed to do both surfaces and leave them separate for the 10-minute curing time before bringing them into contact with each other, hence the name contact adhesive, contact cement, whichever term you want to use. Ted, however, did a piece of countersinking detail on the video that I watched today, and glued all the way around the edge of the piece that he was countersinking, put it in location and left it. And while he was doing that, he was narrating that the solvent in the glue will do its job as it dries anyway. However, it's probably going to take a little longer than doing it this way because there's no air circulating between across the surface of the glue. That's my narration there, not Ted's. That piece is falling over. There it goes. Okay, so 10 minutes, set the timer for that, and then we'll plunk that all together and go. The timer has gone off, which means the glue is cured, and here is the ear. So what we're going to do is we're going to start taking these little wedges that we glued just a second ago and put them in the back here to hold these V's open, which are going to give us the shape that I hope will be what I'm looking for on the front, because after all, it's all just experimentation. Okay, so that's one in there, and then we'll put one in there and one down this long face here. It doesn't have to be pretty because these guys are going to be hidden from view, but they will get trimmed and tidied. And then there's that one short piece that we made and put aside specifically for the shorter angle. So let's hold that open a bit with that. And okay, there we go. I'm going to call that a success. You can see how I've got that nice cambered edge there. Hopefully the light above the camera will give us, there we go, a bit of depth of field so that we can see it. Okay, so that's the ear. I've already done the other one because this is the second one. I'm going to clean up the back edges here with the knife, and then I'm going to mount these inside the ears and cut those bands that go across the top. Bang on the timer, turn the camera on just at the right time. Okay, so the glue has cured and we can now get our ears put into place. So we have 2 ears sitting there, and of course contact cement, contact glue, contact adhesive, whichever term you want to use, inside that bottom edge of the ear and on the bottom lip of the ear, making sure I have the right ear for the right place. So let's pop that one out of the way, and just like I showed you before, I want a nice smooth line, so I use my thumb and a little bit of TLC to make sure that it goes where I want it to before I push down. So there's one, whoop, camera's in there we go. That's it, look at that, that's beautiful. That's a nice clean line across there. You can see the lip already around the edge, and the very next step will be to put that top across the ear, which I've already started making a pattern while I was waiting for the glue to cure. And there's the second ear for the other side of the helmet, making sure we have a nice flush fit before we drive the 2 pieces of foam home against each other. Boom de yada, boom de yada. Okay, so there's the other one. I don't rightly know how long I've been talking to myself, but it appears that when I held the helmet up to show you under the camera, I tapped the button on the keyboard and turned the camera off, and I've been busy chatting away to thin air and have proceeded quite a ways. These are the foam pieces that will be for the top edge of the ears, and I'm just trimming out the second one now. There's going to be some campering on these edges as well. These will be cut inwards towards the center of the ear, and then on the helmet, the top of the ear will also have some camber cut onto it to give us a better surface for the adhesion. Okay, which is why I can do that quite roughly, because I know that's not the finished edge. Excuse me. Okay, so where the dickens are we? We are at this one. Okie dokie. I'm just comparing it to the pattern so I know where I'm at. The ear that is facing you is this one. So as you can see, this top piece will go here, 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 and then down there. But that's very rounded and curved, isn't it? So we're going to use that undercut process again along the edges to give that a much sharper profile across the top of the helmet. Now I have my pattern here, which that way up goes that way, so I know where those profiles are supposed to be. I've got one here which goes there, one there, and one there. So we're going to mark those back down onto the foam. Actually, they should be marked on the underside of the foam where the cut is going to be. Glory be. And now that I've turned it over, that explains why I had that one first. Okay. What I'm going to do is switch pens and grab a silver Sharpie so I can see it better. Look at that, it just leaps off of the foam. Oh my goodness, it was right there on the apex of that, just there and there. So we're going to cut a V out of this so that when I close up the edges I'll end up with a very sharp profile on the top here. But we're also going to need, it's there and clink, there, and on this edge it's there and it's there and it's there. I'm going to join up those lines, but then I'm going to taper the edges before I cut the V's in. Okay, so straight line across there, straight line across there, across there. Okay, I'm going to put that back in there, I'm going to put that back in there. Yay! Alrighty. So I'm going to cut from the centre outwards to give me my 45-degree angle. That. And again, I'm not particularly aiming for the very edge because I'm going to round off the edge to give me that metal, worn look instead of a very clean, precise angle. Like, aha, Yordy, okay. There. There and there. Beauty. Okay, so now we're going to cut those out without going all the way through to the surface. So that, like I said, when we bend it, we get a nice clean edge rather than a curve. Okay, that one. That one. And that one. Now, I could glue the inside edges of these V's and glue that into shape before I fit it to the ear. But there is no need, because simply by gluing these surfaces to the edges of the ear, we're going to get that sharp, defined angle anyway. So yeah. Okay, that's one. This is turning into a long video. I'm sorry, guys. I don't think I'm typing. Yes, I am. Oh, had me. See, now I'm panicking that I've done it twice in a row. Oh dear. The senility of old age. Yeah. How old, you ask? Mind your own business, you sneaky cheeky sod. Actually, I'm quite happy to say that I'm a 50-year-old cosplayer and I'm going strong at it. I don't think that age or body shape or sex or colour or any of that stuff should be an impingement to you pursuing anything that you like to do. And for me, I like to wear costumes that I've made in the company of other people who are wearing costumes that they've made. Yippee. Okay, now carefully not going all the way through to the surface. There's a bit of dag there that needs to be cleaned up. And see that this heat treated surface really bluntens the knives in a hurry. That and the density of the foam, but you'll hear that on pretty much everybody's channel and everybody's clips. That foam bluntens your knife. So either have a copious supply of blades or a sharpener, or both. Obviously sharpening these box cutters is relatively easy. Sharpening the little the craft knives, the pointy ones, the scalpel ones, a little harder, but not impossible. Okay, so now that we've done those pieces there, we need to prepare the top of the ears to receive them. Debating whether I do this in another video or not. I think I will. I think we'll pause it here, and then I'll do another chapter with finishing off the... You know what? No, I won't. I'm going to charge straight ahead and do that. Okay, so now that I've tapered those, I know that the ear is going to go across there. But you see, I don't have the room there, so at least the back of the ear here needs to be cut on a 45 like that one. So, oh yeah, let's do this in situ, because prior planning? What the heck is that? This is cosplay, guys. Cosplay, all about reacting to situations as they arise. And that starts right from the construction phase and goes right through to taking your cosplay on display, be that either in competition on the stage or simply walking around the con floor or going out and doing a fundraising function with your friends in costume. Something's going to arise that you need to respond to that you hadn't planned for. So why not get in the mode right from the construction phase? So, as you can see, I'm tapering the edge, but I'm not going right out to the lip, because once again, like I showed you when I was doing that bottom surface there, I want it to be a rounded softer join on these exposed surfaces, these outside surfaces. So look, come on, be nice. So is everybody out there having a bit of a panic attack that I'm cutting towards myself? Yeah? Okay, that's good. Glad you had my welfare in mind. Okay. Almost. Almost. That face just there. Okay. See, now that is going to form a much better edge along there. I do believe this will make Tyrannus a happy little camper by the end of the evening. Okay, let's pop some glue on there and at least get this one together and call it a night. Or at least the end of the video. I'll probably charge ahead and do the second ear without filming it, because once you've seen this side, you've pretty much seen the other side. But that leads me to the next piece of work that I'll be doing on this helmet, which, if you've seen the Nordic carve, and I might just slap it up at the end of the video, the reference image that I'm using to base my work on, you'll see the Nordic carving on these helmets adds some extra detail. Now I'm going to do that with some craft foam, and what I have handy is 2mm, but I don't know whether that's going to give me a thick enough look, so I'm probably going to end up laminating two pieces of 2mm together and make those details 4mm higher than the surface that I'm sticking them onto. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Okay, like I said before, use the powder pop stick to remove any excess pools of glue, because it just gets a little gluggy and it messes with your final job. It pushes it out between the seams and forms a pool. And here we go again, timer for 10, so don't run too far away, and this will be the last clip coming back from here when I put those two pieces together and finish up at least one ear and do the rest off camera. So hopefully this is actually filming and I can edit it all together. So my friends, I have the tops of the ears in. I'm just putting an extra bit of glue in there where I've cut too far through, where I cut those V's in the back. So I'll give that another 10 minutes and close those up. The other ear, however, as you can see, worked a treat. You can also see that I've started laying out the patterning for the Nordic patterns that are on here. So let's turn that up the right way so you can see it. That's going to be a 2mm foam layer, possibly 2 sheets of this glued together to give me a 4mm riser. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, probably. I've also decided that I'm not happy with the amount of lip that I got around the ear by doing that undercut, so I'm going to do one strip of 2mm around there just to make that more defined. But yeah, so basically the eyebrow will come back up a little higher, a little thicker, and curve all the way around here as one strip. Then you've got the strip that comes along here as another piece. There's the one below it that goes down there. Yep. There's that very distinct claw here on the nose. It comes up, down, up, and the hook. So that'll be another piece. And then there's the diamond inside the eye, and that'll be replicated on the back. Oh yeah, and there's a couple of studs too. There's a round circly stud down here somewhere, and one directly below it as well. So yeah, that's all going to be a separate layer of craft foam to add detail. So I'll glue those on. Once I've got those on, then I'll hit the whole thing with the heat gun, and that should close up the pores. But unfortunately what that also does is open up any of the cuts, which will include the pattern that's supposed to be on the front of the nose too. That'll be a cut that'll swell open with the heat gun. Once we've opened up all these pores, that then gives me the ability to go in with my Cellulose No More gaps and seal them all up, make it nice and flush, and then start on the sealing spray and painting part. Thanks for sticking with it. I know it's been a long one. I'll see you at the next one, and this is Tyrannus Cosplay. I'm out of here. Don't forget, we call it cosplay because it is meant to be fun.